At 1447 local time, the U.S. Marines took on a drone swarm in a high-stakes training exercise, and experts were shocked by what happened next. The rhythmic thud of a .50 caliber machine gun shattered the calm over the Atlantic Ocean. A helicopter door gunner unleashed a burst at a small but fast-moving aerial target 800 meters away. The object, later revealed to be a high-performance drone, darted to the right at 150 knots, trying to evade the barrage. It wasn't the first to test the Marines' readiness, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. What unfolded next was a 12-minute engagement that looked and felt like something straight out of a modern war movie. But this was not a movie scene. It was a live training exercise, Exercise Coastal Warden, held off the coast of North Carolina in August 2025. The drill was led by Marine Light Attack Helicopter Squadron 269, which is designed to test the Marine Corps' ability to intercept and neutralize drone swarms threatening U.S. coastal defenses. The exercise kicked off when radar systems picked up unidentified aerial contacts entering restricted airspace over the Atlantic. The first target moved fast and unpredictably, executing sharp turns and evasive patterns designed to fool designated systems. These weren't hobbyist drones from a local enthusiast, but were military-grade, equipped with pre-programmed evasion algorithms. Within seconds, the Viper and Venom helicopters of HMLA 269 were scrambled to intercept. Their mission was simple in theory, which is to stop the drones before they reach the U.S. coastline, but complex in execution. As the first drone was hit and exploded into fragments of carbon fiber and lithium battery debris, more contacts appeared. There were 4 in the air and 1 moving rapidly across the water's surface. The Marines were about to face one of the most sophisticated swarm drone scenarios ever conducted in U.S. training history. The Venom and Viper pilots used textbook choreography to avoid mid-air conflicts. The Viper descended as the Venom climbed, a classic Marine Corps deconfliction maneuver used in Iraq and Afghanistan. In military aviation, this level of coordination prevents blue-on-blue incidents or friendly fire. Every burst of the .50 caliber had to be precise. A single missed shot meant a potential round traveling 3 miles before hitting the water, or worse, a civilian vessel in one of the nearby shipping lanes. With container ships, fishing boats, and even a luxury yacht in the area, there was no margin for error. So, to promote target detection, the crews relied on a forward-looking infrared FLIR system, a $2 million thermal imaging camera capable of detecting heat signatures. But identifying the drones wasn't easy. Their electric motors produced minimal heat, blending them into the ocean's thermal background. When 4 new heat signatures suddenly emerged from the sea, rising rapidly, the Marines realized this was no routine exercise. These were high-end drones, far beyond anything ever sold commercially. Each helicopter carried a limited payload. The Venom had 6 APKWS, which is the Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, laser-guided rockets, and 600 rounds of .50 caliber ammunition, while the Viper had 2 Hellfire missiles and 750 rounds of 20mm cannon shells. With 5 aerial targets and 1 surface contact to engage, they needed to focus on resource management. The Marines calculate which weapons to use for which targets. Easy-to-track drones were assigned to the gunners with the machine guns, while evasive drones were being engaged with guided rockets and missiles. But hitting a fast-moving drone from a vibrating helicopter requires near-superhuman precision. The co-pilot had to keep the laser guidance system perfectly locked on a drone's surface while battling wind gusts and rotor wash. The drone's air-reflective coating, likely a stealth feature, further complicated targeting, causing the laser signal to drop out constantly. Despite these challenges, the Marines pressed on. An APKWS rocket streaked from the Venom's side pod, spinning in a corkscrew pattern as it corrected its flight path. 6 seconds later, it struck home, turning the drone into a fiery cloud. Meanwhile, the Viper pilot used his helmet-mounted targeting display to line up another drone. Wherever he looked, the helicopter's 20mm cannon followed. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real technology, as the gun can track the pilot's head movements with a quarter-second lag. The lag, though small, meant the pilot had to lead his sight ahead of the drone's movement. The first burst moved. The second clipped the drone, damaging it but not downing it. On the third attempt, the rounds hit center mass, disintegrating the target. As each drone fell, the remaining one adapted. They executed complex brake maneuvers, tactical aerial moves that are similar to those used by fighter jets. These drones weren't being manually controlled. They had switched to autonomous mode based on advanced combat algorithms. Then, the fourth drone turned east, flying toward a shipping lane filled with civilian traffic. Rules of engagement prevented the Marines from firing once it got too close to commercial vessels. The pilots had to intercept before that happened. The Venom accelerated to 150 knots, approaching its never exceed limit, which is the maximum safe speed for the aircraft. The gunner opened fire with the M134 minigun, sending 133 rounds in just 2 seconds. The stream of tracers filled the sky like a glowing ribbon, and the drone vanished in a burst of smoke and sparks. One drone remained airborne, while the final contact, a fast-moving surface vessel, continued racing toward the coastline at 45 knots. The Marines prepped a Hellfire missile. The Viper's pilot carefully aligned his shot to ensure the missile's trajectory wouldn't threaten any of the nearby cargo ships if it missed. Thickening marine fog made laser guidance more difficult, scattering the beam and forcing the co-pilot to boost power. With battery levels dropping, he had one last good shot. The missile streaked toward the target, following a carefully calculated path that accounted for wind drift, the target's speed, and the missile's own arcing trajectory. Despite the vessel's zigzagging evasions, the Hellfire found its mark, erupting into a massive explosion and fireball across the waves. There were 6 targets and 6 confirmed kills. 12 minutes after the first trigger pull, a voice came through the encrypted radio. Weapons safe. Exercise complete. The crews exhaled. It wasn't a real attack, but it was the final certification for HMLA 269, confirming their readiness to serve as the East Coast's quick reaction force against drone threats. The enemy drones were QST-35s, advanced training drones designed to mimic hostile aircraft and unmanned systems. The waterborne target was a remote-controlled surface vessel built to simulate a small boat threat. But the scenario was based on reality. The U.S. military has been grappling with a new and alarming security challenge, and swarms of unidentified drones appearing off America's coasts. This was based on a very real threat. In late 2023, the FBI documented over 50 drone incidents originating from the Atlantic Ocean, probing U.S. infrastructure near New Jersey before vanishing back to sea. The Coast Guard has intercepted several boats carrying drone launching equipment, but no group claimed responsibility. Even more concerning, Langley Air Force Base, home of the F-22 Raptor, suffered 17 consecutive nights of drone incursions. Between December 2023 and early 2024, Langley AFB in Virginia became the stage for a mysterious and alarming series of drone overflights. Over 17 consecutive nights, unidentified drones infiltrated restricted airspace above the base, which is home to U.S. Air Force F-22 Raptor stealth fighters. Eyewitness accounts painted a striking picture. From a vantage point on the James River, resident Jonathan Butner recorded orange or reddish flashing lights approaching Langley each evening, sometimes in rapid succession. He estimated seeing over 40 drones in a single session. A retired general, Mark Kelly, who was stationed at Langley, confirmed that these drones had different sizes, altitudes, and speed, some quiet and some loud. The incursions began about 40 minutes after sunset and persisted till after midnight. Some of these drones flew at altitudes between 3,000 and 4,000 feet, low enough to challenge radar detection systems. The ability of these drones to fly through heavily defended airspace, evade detection, and carry out repeated incursion over more than 2 weeks raises a lot of concerns. Langley's security teams and broader NORAD/NORTHCOM assets scrambled to respond. But the defenses they relied on, which were radars designed in the Cold War era to detect high-altitude and large aerial threats, had limitations against low-flying, small, unmanned systems. Because the drones did not, at least publicly, present direct kinetic threat, rules of engagement and domestic law constrained a military response. Firing missiles or guns indiscriminately in civilian-populated areas would be too risky. What's more, the incursions were deemed significant enough that some F-22 aircraft stationed at Langley were relocated to nearby airfields to reduce their exposure. Meanwhile, White House and Pentagon-level discussions ensued over how to manage this new threat. The Langley case revealed the gaps in U.S. homeland air defense against low-altitude, small unmanned aerial systems. This is what caused the U.S. helicopter strike drone swarm. As one retired commander put it, it was more about confronting a capability the defense posture has not yet been designed to counter. It also brought up the question, if swarms of drones can so thoroughly probe a major airbase, what might happen near critical civilian infrastructure? Efforts are now going on across NORAD, the FAA, the Department of Defense, and other agencies to modernize detection, tracking, counter-drone kits, and the rules of engagement. The 17 consecutive nights over Langley exposed a real and evolving vulnerability. That's why exercises like Coastal Warden are now central to U.S. defense strategy. HMLA 269's success demonstrated how Marines could adapt to this new threat landscape, combining traditional aviation tactics with cutting-edge technology to neutralize swarms before they reach U.S. shores. As drone technology becomes cheaper and more accessible, the line between state and non-state actors continues to blur. The use and importance of drones in warfare is evident in the current Russia-Ukraine war, where Ukraine has made several blows on key Russian infrastructure using modified civilian drones. Experts predict that future conflicts, whether between nations or involving terrorists, will now feature drone swarms capable of overwhelming defenses through sheer volume and coordination. HMLA 269's 12-minute engagement proved that U.S. forces are learning fast. Precision, teamwork, and adaptability remain the cornerstones of marine aviation. Whether it's a real swarm or a training simulation, one thing is clear: the Marines are ready. So, when the next unidentified blip appears on radar, the same gunrunners of HMLA 269 will be orbiting offshore. Do you think the U.S. is now ready for drone attacks as the next level of military technology? Let's know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on global military events.